On the upper floor of Elise's house, you can find a large tapestry on the wall. When Elise inspects the tapestry, she wonders if it has always looked like this. Indeed, the tapestry does change its appearance depending on time and day. If we order the sequence, it seems that a woman stands alone in the woodland until she is approached by a hooded figure. The figure appears to propose a ring, but the woman seems to reject it. After the figure leaves, the woman is replaced by a crying unicorn. The unicorn is then visited again by the hooded figure, who wields a bow and shoots the animal. The figure leaves again, and the unicorn is revealed to be the woman, who is injured by the arrow. Finally, the woman disappears as well. To try to get an understanding of the meaning of the sequence, I would like to take a look at what may have inspired the artwork. The scene of a unicorn bears great resemblance to the so-called unicorn tapestries, a series of tapestries created in the Netherlands in the late 15th century. The unicorn tapestries show how a unicorn is chased by a group of hunters who are unable to catch it. In the end, the unicorn is seduced by a virgin woman, after which the animal lets its guard down and is finally captured and chained onto a promenade tree. While scholars are still uncertain about the exact meaning of this story, it is assumed that these tapestries are a representation of marriage. The taming of the unicorn is interpreted as a devotion and subjugation to love, and thus the lover is held captive. If we follow this interpretation, then we can assume that the fence portrayed may represent a woman's devotion and love to her surroundings, which bind her to the woodland. The hooded figure may have proposed a ring as a symbol of marriage, but the woman had to reject it, as she could not leave the woodland behind. The woman turning into a unicorn may be a metaphoric representation of her characteristics, as unicorns symbolize purity and innocence. Another interesting clue is provided by the apple on the tree. First, the apple hangs idly on the tree, but when the woman gets injured, the apple drops down and is eventually bitten into. The apple may have a positive or negative connotation to it. It can symbolize fertility, but it can also be interpreted as a forbidden fruit, hence referring to temptation. The woman herself does have a distinct similarity to the Norse goddess Ethan. She is said to have carried a basket of apples that gods would consume to reverse the effects of aging. Eventually Ethan was lured away by Loki, causing the Norse gods to grow grey and old. Just like Ethan, the woman also disappears in the last tapestry. The woodland itself often seems rather lifeless and desolate. No animals other than flesh-eating butterflies, doe carcasses and crows can be found. The desolation of the woodland becomes especially apparent in a ceramic grove of wheat, which is essentially just a barren wasteland. Even the witch herself was surprised to hear that wheat is grown on this soil. This could imply that the apple is a representation of fertility, and it being eaten may refer to the fertility being taken away. Throughout the game, we encounter a tree with an apple twice. Once when Elise uncovers the truth about her birth. Her grandmother struck a deal with the demon Ossi. This is where her grandmother is seen praying at the foot of a tree that bears an apple. It is the exact same representation of a tree that the witch describes as the entry of his dwelling, and is also the same kind of tree that Elise enters at the end of the game to meet Ossi in his domain to strike her own deal with him. The second time we find this tree is when Elise enters the woodland to rescue the young boy Apfel. Apfel has been abducted by the witch and is stuck inside a tree that is identical to the tree leading to Ossi's domain. The name Apfel literally translates as apple, therefore representing the same imagery as previously, but instead of having a fertile sprouting tree, we get to see a desolate and dead tree in a barren wasteland. Putting it all together, I believe the hooded figure in the tapestry is meant to be Ossi. Taking a look at his head and hairstyle, there appears to be a lot of similarity. The woman, on the other hand, might be the witch Walpurga, who watches over the forest. Ossi approached Walpurga and offered her a ring. This ring could be interpreted as Ossi asking for Walpurga's hand in marriage, but there does seem very little to suggest that Walpurga and Ossi had much in common. Throughout the game, one can only ever see the demons and the witch badmouth each other, with no reference of them ever being on good terms. This means that if Ossi and Walpurga had been lovers, we would be unaware of such. Still, when a ring is offered to marry someone, then you propose to someone. Hence the ring could be a metaphorical interpretation of a proposition of some sort, not necessarily marriage. Either way, it would seem Walpurga turned the proposition down due to her devotion to her woodland. In the end, Ossie returned and injured Walpurga, taking a piece from the apple. It may be a piece of Walpurga that Ossie used to give birth to Elise. Elise was conceived in Walpurga's woodland, where the woodland soil was used to nurture Elise's body. This is why Walpurga considered Elise's body to be her rightful property, and Elise being taken away from the woodland may have felt to Walpurga as if something had been stolen from her, hence the apple was bitten into. The arrow itself may be a metaphor that Ossie didn't hurt Walpurga literally, but it felt to her as if an arrow struck her heart to lose something she considered a child. Alternatively, if Walpurga and Ossie had indeed been lovers, it may have also been a feeling of betrayal. In the end, Walpurga vanishes and the apple is bitten into once more. In this case, it may be that Walpurga had forsaken her woodland in her vanity to obtain Elise and gain hold of her body. Throughout the game, it becomes apparent that Walpurga was unable to create human life the way Ossie did. It is also implied that Walpurga tried several times to replicate how Ossie had given life to Elise, but she always ended up failing. In ending 10 and 4, Walpurga manages to possess Elise's body, claiming she wants to live as a woman and wants to give birth once again. Hence it would not seem that she intended to go back to the woodland ever again. This could explain the desolate state of the woodland and its fertility gone.